first of all, we have the recorded courses, which were live courses. Then we recorded them, and now we are sending them as recorded courses. As you can see on the left side, we have Fraccade 2 parts, Aspen HISIS, OFM, Prosper, Sapphire, Gap and Bell, PipeSim, TechLog, Petroleum Economics, PVT1 and PVT2. And each one of these courses is around 15 hours, and there are exercises and assignments involved in this training on each one of them. And there will be support from the instructor. When you have any questions, you will join a group on WhatsApp and you can ask any questions that you want on the material of the course. And also, of course, you will get a certificate of completion after you submit the assignment for the course that you are taking. And the prices that you see on the left side are the prices before the discount that I will show you right now. So the discount, as you can see on the left side now, if you take one course, for example, you will benefit from 15% discount. And this will increase by 5% with each course extra that you take until you reach 50% discount if you take 7+ courses with us. And if you're interested in joining one or more of these recorded courses, you can scan this QR code, or you can fill in the form that will be sent in the chat right now by my colleague, or you can go back to our social media after the webinar to register in these recorded courses. You can also contact us on WhatsApp or on social media to know more about these recorded courses. Next is our OFM from A to Z course, which will take place on 15th of January 2022 for 3 weeks. This course is 2 weeks course and 1 week project. It will be between 35 and 40 hours of live training. In the course days, you will have 3 hours per day for 10 days. And in the project days, you'll have 1 to 2 hours per day for 5 days. There will be real case studies involved in this course, and also full support from the instructor to answer all your questions inside the sessions, but also outside the sessions if you have any. And of course, you will get a certificate after completing the course, which will strengthen your CV and show that you gained extra knowledge in the OFM. And right now you can benefit from this huge discount for 25%. It's valid only for 3 weeks starting from 4 December. Now we're 11 December, so 2 more weeks you can benefit from this 25% discount. You can take the course for $189 instead of $250. So seize this opportunity to take the course. You can scan this also QR code to register, or the form in the chat. And also you can check more on the social media about the course. And our third offer is the 4x4 program. This is the third program that we are providing under the title of Rigless Well Intervention. It will be for 4 consecutive days, each day 1 hour, 27, 28, 29, and 30 December. So at the end of this month, this program will have an agenda for each day. The first day is slick line, second day is electric line, third day cold tubing, and fourth day frac operation. And the price of this 4x4 program is $44.4 only. And I can assure you that in this program, although it's only 4 hours, but it will be very condensed mini course that you can benefit from to know more about the Rigless Well Intervention. And you can also scan this QR code to register in the 4x4 program. So until now, we have 3 offers: the recorded courses, the live OFM course, and the 4x4 program on the Rigless Well Intervention. Next to that is our online mentorship. This is not specific for this time, it's always available. But very briefly about the online mentorship, it's one-on-one mentoring by highly experienced mentors. It's tailored based on the needs of the mentee. So you can request any topic you want to be mentored about, like explaining the know-how of your software, or some of its parts, or practicing on how to produce output from results that you provide to us or to the instructor that will give the mentorship, and guiding on personal data of the mentee to get the best output from it. Till now, we completed around 15 mentorship programs successfully, and the people who got the program were highly satisfied and got very concentrated knowledge and sessions from the instructors who gave the mentorship. You can also always register in this mentorship program and request what you want to be mentored about, the topic, the duration, and everything. And we will share everything about this mentorship program with you when you register. For example, the rates per hour and everything. We have also discounts for students on this mentorship program. So also seize the opportunity and get mentored by anything that you want in the oil and gas industry. And last but not least, how to become an ambassador with OPA. It's very simple. You have 3 tracks to become an OPA ambassador and join our community. First one is take 1 or more courses, whether they are live or recorded courses, or you can take 4 4x4 programs. So instead of 1 live course, you can take 4 4x4 programs and also become an OPA ambassador, or you can take also a mentorship program that I mentioned, and you can also become an ambassador. What will you benefit if you become an ambassador? You will get huge special discounts on all courses or services that we will provide in the future. Also, you will get a group discounts when you invite your friends to join with you. So join our 110 happy ambassadors and benefit from our special discounts. And lastly, the rules for this session. Please keep your microphone and camera closed. Put your questions in the chat box and they will be answered at the end of this webinar by the instructor. Please use your full name as written in the registration form in order to be able to take the attendance for you and provide the certificate. And lastly, the certificates will be sent within 1 week from today. So no need to text us that we forgot you or anything. Please wait for at least 1 week. If we don't send it by 1 week, then you can send us an email or reminder, but I can assure you that we will send it within this 1 week. And thank you a lot for listening to my presentation. And now back to Adil.
Thank you, Omar, for this great presentation. Now it's time for our session. Engineer Islam, the mic is yours.
So, Engineer Islam, can you hear me well so far?
Please co-host Engineer Islam, Adil, because he left and joined again.
Engineer Islam, you are now
Thank you.
host. You can share screen.
Yeah, thank you, Adil. Let's share my screen. Are you see my screen?
Yes, it's loading. Yeah, we can see it now.
Hello and welcome, and thank you for joining us at our webinar today regarding OFM type well curves. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, your voice is clear so far, yes.
Yes. Hello and welcome, and thank you for joining us at our webinar today regarding OFM type well curves. And it's my honor to give this webinar today. Let's start by quick agenda regarding our webinar. First of all, we start with type well overview, just a couple of slides to go through how the type well is created and what is the base behind the type well curves. And then we'll go to OFM demo regarding type well curve, type well creation, and then closing after Q&A. So the first question, what is type curves and type wells? Type curves is about rate and the time production profile, and we averaging the production profile for an oil well. So before start, we need to differentiate between the type curves and type well. Type curves is more properly referred to dimensionless production plot based on numerical method or analytical method to which well production results are compared like we have in well testing, but type wells are based on production data for a specific well and for a specific duration. As you see here from my screen, in this chart, which showing the rate versus time and the averaging production for each well, we have around many wells in entities that like as we see in the next slide, and we averaging the productions for all well. We're generating a different percentile like B10, B50, and the B90, and this percentile we will use for decline curve analysis and the line chart to compare the actual production with the prognosis profile. This is a very important for the field development plan. It's very important to define the ultimate recovery potentials for your reservoir or for your fields. By turn, we'll use the for future cash flow forecast. Also, this is important for prognosis for infill new well. If you're planning for infill new well, and you can take this well as a prognosis for new well. So it's very important to understand the base behind the type curves and type well, because it affects the development plan and affect decision making. If you don't understand the base behind the type curve creation and each input or each parameter for the type curve, this lead to unattainable economic evaluation or unattainable results. So we have for OFM different 5 steps to create the type curves. Let's start by first one, well selection. Well selection, we will select the well based on your understanding for your reservoir or your deep understanding for all the wells that you have in your reservoir, and exclude the outlier from your wells. After that, we normalization, whatever the type of the normalization, we normalized by different two methods, peak production rate or start of the production rate, and we'll know the difference between them in the next slide. Also, we creating the type well and generate the average production profile and choosing the percentile like B10, B50, and the B90, or any percentile that you have from B1 up to B99. After that, we save the type well curve after the desired setting, and then you are able to import or export the type curves and type wells. So the first thing is to carefully select the well, as this assumption is based on selection the well on the same behavior or the same characteristics, and the type well created can be used for different populations, or selection the well with the same characteristic also can reduce the level of uncertainty. As you see from this snapshot from the OFM, we have different categories here, like well type. So select the wells that have that the status of the well what should be open, and from zone here select the wells that produce from the same zone. From the reservoir, select the wells are producing from the same reservoir. So there are more attributes or categories that are considered when selecting the analog wells. The first one, which is the geology. Geology, which is mean the analog well should have the same porosity, same permeability, the same lithology, and you are able to select that from zone, the wells that are producing from the same reservoir or from the same flow units. The second one, which you keep in your mind, is the reservoir, which is mainly pertain to the fluid or the same BVT or the pressure regime, or sharing the same drive mechanism, like the same pressure support from your aquifer. After that, we will consider the well design, whether the well is open hole, cased hole, lateral well. This is very important when selection, because the well in operating with the cased hole well will have different performance from the open hole wells. After that, we will consider the well density or cardinality. Cardinality, which is mean number of well with a square mile. If you have 5 well with square mile, which is mean we have higher cardinality, which is mean higher stope density for this area. If we use low cardinality, which is mean low stope density for this area, those will showing different behavior, Higher cardinality show different behavior. Low cardinality show different behavior from high cardinality. Also, operation design, we should select the wells that operated under natural flow or artificial lift, or the wells that we have different constraint for the design, one related to capacity constraint and the other one related to the line pressure or the back pressure for the well. If we are some wells operated or checked back to maintain coning or maintain the bottom hole following pressure at different level to prevent sand production, don't put this well or this category with the wells that are producing which are not shocked back. Also, from your experience or from your deep understanding, you should remove the outlier if you have lack of information, you ask for surveillance and should flag those well for another category. Also, it's very important to consider the production time. If we have limited production time or limited production data for this well, you should keep in your mind this well should lead to unrealistic results. So those are 6 parameters or 6 items that should kept in your mind to select the well, because those are the most important parameter in creating the type curves. There are 2 types of charts that will be used for generating the type curve. Those are based on the same production data. The first one is rate versus time. As we see here, this is the rate, and this is the months or the time here. And we plot or normalize the production curves for each well. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 well. Those 6 well are normalized. And it is very important to consider the early time here. This is the rate versus time. It's considered the pick up rate, which is very important for comparison. But at the lead time, those curves are coincides for each other, which is not good for longer term comparison. Also, we have cumulative production versus time. As you see here, this is the months, this is the cumulative oil production. This chart is very useful when comparing the cumulative production at any time or specific at several months from the production. It's to provide a quick assessment to compare different companies, different technologies, and the different behavior for different reservoirs. This could be expected. One reservoir depletion drive, the reservoir is supported with injections, the reservoir is gas cap drive. So it's very important to consider the cumulative versus months, but this can be effective tool when considering a payout time as a part of your analysis, especially for the early period here. After that, we go to the next step, which is normalization. Normalization means alignment of the time or months relative to the date or event. There are 2 common dates used for the OFM. As we see here from this snapshot, we have start production or peak production, flowing time or peak flowing time. So we will know the difference between each one. There is no right or wrong. Each one has its strengths and has its weakness. So for this type is the first production time normalization. All will started from the same time or from the same months, and all will are normalized here. The strength of this is we consider the pickup time or the time to pickup rate. This is the pickup rate for this well. This is the pickup rate for this well. So it's very important to compare the pickup rate for all the well or for all reservoirs or fields or the entities that you want to average the production profile for it. But its weakness, you cannot determine or you cannot reflect the production decline behavior as you see here from this chart. We cannot reflect the production decline for this chart. If we consider the second type, which is the peak production rate, we removed the pickup time. We started from the pickup rate, we normalized the production from the pickup rate for each well. This is the pickup rate for this well, pickup rate for this well. This is the pickup rate for this well. So we normalized from the pickup rate for this well. But also its strength, we can reflect the decline behavior as you see here. This is clear decline. We can detect the decline behavior more accurately regarding than another type of peak or other type of Z normalization. Also for OFM, we have following time and the peak following time. The difference between those, we consider the non-productive time for each well. And I will go through it in OFM. After we selecting the well carefully, and after we understand how to normalize the production plot, we have pickup rate or start of production rate, then we'll generate the type curves. Generation is based on statistical performance. As OFM apply the probability distributions curves in background, and we'll use the statistical performance for generation. As we see here, this cumulative distribution function showing this is the B10, B50, and B90. B10, which is mean 10 probability, which is the optimistic value. B90, which is 90 probability, pessimistic value. B50, which is the median value. Also for OFM, we have another probability like B average, arithmetic average performance, or BEV, weighted expected value fit, is about 0.25, 25% times probability 10 plus 50% times probability 50 plus 25% times B10 probability. This type well can be used for two areas. Can be used for forecast schedule for decline curve analysis to reflect the decline behavior, as we can use for prognosis for the new infill well, or we can use with line chart in order to compare the production or actual production data with the prognosis profile. As you see here from these two charts, where we use the type well or how to communicate with the type well. There are two areas. The first one, we used the type well. This is the type well, and we are planned for work over for this well or drilling a new well, so we can use type well as a schedule for the decline curve analysis. Or this is the line chart. This is the actual production performance. This is B10, B50, and B90. We are comparing the actual production data with the type curves probability, like B90. As you see here from this graph, this area showing this well is below the performance. So we go back to the well and we need to understand why the well is underperforming. Okay, this is just overview about the type well and how it's communicated. So let's go to the OFM to generate the type well. Are you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. For those who are not familiar with the OFM, this is a base map. This is the legend for all the wells that you have. And we have different pane. On the right, we have filtration and categorization. And we have navigation pane, all the entities that you have. And we have analysis pane here and the properties and the well information pane. As we see here, as I said in our slide, the first step is to select the well. This is the key driver for type curve. Need to select the well very carefully, and we understand each well and understand how many wells and the categories that you have. For OFM we have different category here. Completion, wellbore categories, or you can add different category according to your understanding. And for this, we have operator here. Let's select the well operated by OBA, OBA operators. Those are the well. And then if we need to select the wells that producing from the same reservoir, okay, select, we have different reservoir. So select the wells that are producing from the same reservoir to reflect the decline behavior. And well type, we have different well type: oil, injection, gas, dry. Select oil well. Okay, and also for the zone, select the wells that are producing from the same zone, like this. Okay, we have 9 completion here, as we see from the navigation. So let's start to generate type curve for those well, and to understand from the type curves the outlier and remove it. On home tab, select analysis dashboard. Analysis dashboard have many tabs here: decline curve analysis, line chart, scatter, bar chart, report, GIS mapping. And we have new enhancement module like type well, cumulative distribution function, and type well manager. Those are not in the earlier version, but those buttons are directly communicated with those legacy button here in the OFM. So let's start by generating type well. Launch at type well here. The appear window here, we have type well here. On the left pane, type well, you can name the type well, okay, OBA or anything. OBA. Any name that you as you want. And for the variable here, select the variable that you want to normalize. We normalized CDO rate. This is CD oil rate. And we know the difference between CD oil rate and the BD oil rate, as I said in the previous webinar. And entity, which is mean the entity that you have in the navigation pane, we select OBA B1, but I don't create type curves for one entity. We need group of well that sharing the same characteristic, sharing the same drive mechanism, sharing the same well design, operational design, and so on. So we need to select all the wells that you have in navigation pane. From entity here, select completion. And uncheck current. Current, which is means the current well in the navigation pane. Uncheck current and finish here. Okay. As you see here, all the well in navigation pane are normalized and plotted on this chart. This is y-axis here. Regarding x-axis, we plotting versus time. We have many options. You can plot the CD oil rate versus date. As you see here, this is the date. If you want to check this, elapsed months, this is elapsed months. If you have production data in daily basis, so select elapsed day. This is elapsed day. So for time being, select elapsed months. And OFM ask you normalization, how to normalize the data. As I said, we have different type for normalization. The start production, which is means the normalization from the start of the production or from peak of production. We excluding the time to pick up rate. And the flowing time or peak flowing time, the difference between flowing time and the production is that flowing time just only the flowing time and remove the non-productive time in your chart. So let's start by peak production or peak flowing time. So as you see here, the normalization is starting from the peak flowing time. Okay, for scan months, I will see it after clarifying what we have in our chart here. This graph showing the different percentile and each dotted line showing each percentile that OFM generated in the background. And this is the black line showing the number of sample. What is meant by number of sample? I will uncheck B10, B50, B90, B average, BEV. This is how many well was used, you used for generating these type curves. So for the first, we select 9 well, with time this well is shot in, and we select this well 8 and 4, 3, 4, 3 up to 1. If we want to scan or the sample constraint here from the left pane, select 4 well, for example. As you see here, this is the constraint for generating the type curves. If we select 1, this is the constraint for generating the type curves. Okay. Also, we check B10, B50, B90, and B average and the BEV. And if we want to show the in the right pane here, this is the different percentile. If you want to choose the all production curves, just to check this box. This is the faded line are the production curves. As you see, the faded line are the production curves for each well. If you want to choose the cumulative curves or the EUR for all the different percentile, just check cumulative curves, okay? And if you want to show the type well entity, the entities that you used for generating, just uncheck this I. Those are the well that used for generating the type curves, okay? For the above, this is B value. If you want to add any percentile from B1 up to B99, so let's select B99 here. As you see here, B99 is generated. If you want to remove it, just check this box and remove it. Finish. The second way is single curves. If you want to show or chart tooltip, single curves, which is mean we read only one value. If you use multiple curves, the value for all curves are readable now in your screen. So let's select single curve. This is toggle legend, the legend on the right. Check it again. Toggle the spreadsheet in the bottom. This is toggle edit mode or toggle it again. Okay. Let's rename it OBA. Okay. And the bottom here we have after we choosing carefully the generated production or generated type curves here, we select the different percentile from this spreadsheet. We have the name. If you want to name this OBA, version 1, version 2, or version 3 as you want, business unit, different business unit, different leases, zone, different phases, oil, gas, or so on. Let's click finish here. And type is officially or working as normalization factor if you want to normalize by another factor as you want. If you want to change this, just click type well attributed editor. Title, if you want to add different comments, okay. From the title, from the type, if you want to change the type from official or any type that you want, business unit, different business unit, or different reservoirs, different leases, or different zone as you want. If you have 10 zone, just add 10 zone here from add items here. Version, if we need to add 5 version, it's okay, add item and add 5 version as you want. Then close. After that, we select the probability that represent which probability which represent the production or the average productions for those well. So we select B10 probability, B50, and B90 probability. Okay. For B10, just as is communicated with ARB's decline, we have the exponent factor, which is B factor, decline rate, and the unit of the decline rate, initial rate, and initial forecast, and the duration, final rate, and EUR, estimated ultimate reserves for the well, and the unit for each curve you generate. After we generated that, you are able to save the forecast, save the selected type well. So after we saving, we have saved version 1 phase oil, type B10 probability, type B50, and the B90 probability, saved successfully. Okay. If you wanted to export this and you can edit this in your sheet, just click export here and you can name the file as you want, and this extension of the file is tbw. Okay. Okay. One point, this is scan months. Scan months tell the OFM to scan with 50 months or 100 months, 150 months. So based on your understanding and based on your data. So for source select 150 or select 50. So OFM select 50 months. So looking for only 50 months. Okay. If we change it to 100, looking only for 100 months, and so on. So let's consider all the period. Scan month 0. We considered all the period here. this well, I expect this well is outlier well, and those are outlier. So go back to your type or to your data and scroll through each well and understand the production performance for each well and how the well is performing before we selecting the well. Okay. So let's toggle the legend here and toggle the right pane. So from this plus sign, add a chart to the right here. So we need to examine the B10, B50, and the B90 for OBA type wells. So from type well manager here, launch it, and we have many type well that we used for generating the decline behavior that will be used as a prognosis for newly infill well or for newly drilling well or prognosis for workover well or so on. If you want to add another one, just click add new well to the database, and we can name it any name and select oil phase, B average, and so on. Click OK, and you are able to edit through this well, edit the parameter that you want, the decline parameter, initial decline rate. These are editable, and the initial rate and the initial time and final time and the final rate, which is the economic rate. And then the reserve is uneditable. You cannot edit for the reserve. Just edit for the decline parameter, which is a exponent factor, decline rate, initial time. Okay. For the generated well, we have ARBIS method that will be used. This is the exponent factor, initial rate, and this is the unit and initial rate for the well and the initial time and final rate. By then, this is the reserves for type well generate. So let's add a chart to compare the production profile with the type well curves. Remove this. Yes. Okay. On the home tab, on the launch analysis, add line chart here. From line chart on y-axis, from the variable, select CD oil rate and finish here. So I wanted to, this is the actual production performance for the well, and I wanted to show this well is underperforming, overperforming, or the well are on the decline or as expected for the decline. So we need to add B10, B50, and the B90 for this graph. From variable here, select this add type well here. We have many type well that generated for the OFM. So let's select this B10, B50, and the B90 and click OK. This well is not generated in a proper way. So this is B50. This we have a problem for this. This is B10 and this is B90. So let's scroll through all the curves here to show how the well is performing. So this type curve is depend on how the well is selected, depend on deep understanding for the well, for the reservoir, for each well, how is behave. So this is well is underperforming because this the production actual production data is less than the prognosis profile for this well. So we need to check why the well is performing like this, and we need to check the type curve that generated and based on what. Then click finish here. For this is the type curve that I generated. If you want to add any variable here, from variable, add any variable like BD oil rate or so on as you want. You can add any variable in your chart. So I hope you understand what I said, and if you have any question, I'm ready. Thank you very much. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, engineer.
Thank you very much. I'm finished now. If anyone have any question, I'm ready to.
Thank you, Engineer Islam, for this great session. It was fruitful and full of information. Now it's time to receive your questions. Please, if you have any question, please write it on the chat box. We have a question here: how to apply WGR while forecasting the gas reservoir?
Just this, we can add this variable in the calculated variable here and plotted this variable on the chart and selecting the well that you analog well. And after generating the percentile for each one, you can plot it in this curve. The same concept. Each one apply for the other.
Okay. Any more questions? Someone is asking, can it be done with legacy options or only with analysis button?
Sorry?
Can it be done with legacy options or only with analysis button?
Legacy options, which is means the legacy buttons here for the earlier version for the OFM. For OFM 2019 version, just we have new enhancement module like type well. So we cannot apply with OFM 2019 or OFM 2021. But the earlier version, we cannot apply, just from the analysis. Is it okay?
Someone is asking, as different wells have different behavior, so how can we combine everyone in one type curve evaluation?
For your reservoirs, or from the reservoir point of view, we have some well sharing the same support or well sharing the same decline or some declines behavior. As you see, this well is producing with this profile. This well is producing for this profile. We can aggregate all the production behavior for those well and put different percentile or different ranges. This is based on your selection. So as I said in the first slide, we select the well that sharing the same drive mechanism, that sharing the same support, the well that sharing the same operational design, the well that sharing the same lithology, sharing the same porosity, sharing the same permeability, and so on. So we reduce the level of uncertainty. So when we plot this on normalization, we will find average production profile or average decline behavior for those well. Then we can use it for the decline curve analysis and use it for the line charts to compare the different technologies, to compare different behavior for different fields or different companies and so on.
Okay. Someone is asking how to apply the cutoff value for WGR if the WGR is increasing.
Cutoff value is depend on your understanding just from the calculated variable. If apply the cutoff or from your type well curves, this is the constraint here. Just put the cutoff and constraint, and the cutoff will create it. Or just from the calculated variable in setup here, calculated variable editor, add customize the function to tell the OFM when the WGR is reached X value. This is the constraint, or this is the cutoff for WGR.
Okay, thank you, Engineer Islam. Someone is asking, can we use B10 over B50 type curves for forecasting? If yes, how to export forecast in Excel format?
Yes, this is the main driver for type curve. We can generate different percentile, and from the type curve on spreadsheet like this, I will open it again. From spreadsheet, just toggle the spreadsheet here. From spreadsheet, just export selected type well. This is export the selected like B10 and B50 and B90. Export, and this will export it, and then you will use different type of export Excel sheet here. So select Excel sheet, and those parameters are exported to Excel sheet, and the main driver to use it for forecasting.
Okay. Last question. How can the characteristics of reservoir wells be described and analyzed through the process of well testing?
How can the characteristic of reservoir well will be described and analyzed? So I understand what's the questions. So if we can clarify what is this? Sorry.
Okay, Said Ahmed, can you clarify your question, please? Someone wants you to demonstrate the WGR cutoff. For example, the current WGR is 25 barrels.
Yeah, this is this from the calculated variable here, just to generate the equation, and from after generating the equation, the OFM will directly cut off this up to your value. Yeah, this will take a time to make it. So we can set up another session here for regarding this, how to apply the cutoff and how to generate the calculated variable from the system function to apply the cutoff for WGR. So we can demonstrate the session for calculated variable.
Thank you, Engineer Islam, for this great session. As I said, it was fruitful and full of information, and thank you for attending this webinar.
Thank you very much.